Marta Poldark, is it?
Oh, it's me. Welcome. Take a seat, please, Mrs. Jane.
Thank you.
It's a good honor for me to interview you, Mrs. Jane.
It's my pleasure.
These flowers are so beautiful, Dr. Jane.
Thanks, madam. These are my favorite flowers.
First of all, Dr. Jane, this interview will not only be a book page for me. I want to create a real awareness. So, you should know that everything you say is very important.
I have already read your newspaper articles. I think you're a really successful woman.
Thank you, Mrs. Jane. According to the articles here, Richard was diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. And he was a writer. Wow, that's interesting. What are the symptoms of this illness and when did this illness start?
This illness generally seen a result of a family death, loss of job, birth, or moving. We knew that. He moved to Africa when he was a little boy. In his few speeches, you could clearly notice that his illness started at that time. But I can't say anything definite.
I get it. How did you first understand that he was ill? Please talk about your first meeting.
Let me see. I guess it was autumn. Winter was coming when I first saw him. He was in depression. He was going through a heavy period due to the seasonal change.
Just a second. Does the seasonal change affect this illness, you think?
Of course, in fact, it is one of the biggest factors. Patients with bipolar disorder are overly happy and energized in the summer. However, they are in period of depression in the winter.
He was constantly writing something in his notebook. He was very distracted. He was looking at me, but he didn't see me. I sat in front of him, but I felt like I wasn't here.
This illness causes different obsessions. Some people spend a lot of money. Some people hurt their relatives or themselves. However, Richard's obsession was only writing.
Then I realized that the easiest way to understand his illness was to read his notes. Thanks to his notes, I could understand him. Nobody doubted that he would have been a very good writer if only he hadn't had this mental disorder. He always wrote about an assassination. He had a vivid imagination. The bad thing was that when he was in manic episode, he believed that what he wrote was real. He used to say that an assassination would happen, and he thought he should have prevented it. So he begged us to set him free.
I see. I had reviewed a few notes of him. What's the Blackstone? What does 39 steps mean?
The name of the hospital where he was staying was Blackstone, 39 steps. I don't know exactly, but he liked to count his steps like a child.
How often was his mood changing?
His period ranges were very long. He was almost at the final stage of his illness when I met him. Normally, they are short. In fact, the patients often return to their daily life.
And how could you let him go?
I guess it's my biggest regret in my life. His illness deceived me and other doctors.
When he returned to his daily life, he was very kind man. You would enjoy it while having a conversation with him. He was really funny. He made great progress when he stayed at the hospital. he started talking us more than ever.
And of course, you let him go. I'm sure it was a difficult decision for you.
It was not just difficult, it was painful.
Yeah. And what happened then? How did you understand that his illness was continuing?
I received a letter.
I remember I was very worried. I couldn't even read it properly. I immediately went to my father. As you know, he was the hospital manager. The letter came from Richard's friend Scudder. He was telling that Richard had another crisis. In addition, the crises were more severe. But Scudder wasn't able to persuade him to go to the hospital, and he wanted our help.
And then the hospital personnel went there. They saw Scudder was dead. Yes, I know the next part. But I won't remind you painful events. But I have to ask a question. What happened when he came to the hospital at the night of his death?
I remember the door was knocking.
He came. I looked into his eyes. They looked very different, as if his soul was 5 steps behind his body. He was angry. He came in and started to blame my father for the assassination in the newspaper. I couldn't calm him down. He started attacking him. I begged him to stop, but
You know the next part of the event.
That day, your father or Richard was going to die. This is not your fault, Jane. You did the right thing. Obviously, men and women are proud of you. Like the judge who dealt with your case, even though killing Richard shocked you deeply.
I don't know. Anyway. Do you have any other question?
Did these events affect your profession, especially about Richard?
He impressed me tremendously. I believe I came across with him for a reason. He was the reason why I believed in treatment of bipolar disorder. After he died, I had difficulty to forget him. I devoted myself to patients like him. Maybe I tried to pay a kind of atonement. I still keep telling people that this is an illness, not personality, and that it is necessary to be treated.
Don't worry, Mrs. Jane. I will do whatever is necessary for people to hear them. They should know about this illness. People are ill, but they don't even know that.
Unfortunately, it's almost impossible to teach something new. Moreover, understanding is more important than knowing.
I definitely agree with you, but I want to ask a private question. Were you in love with him?